everyone, it's me, Lois with Aussie Lozzie Knit Designs, and this is Knit Bits. We are in our series on cast-on methods, and in this video today we will be taking a look at the different categories for cast-on methods and giving a brief description of those various categories. Really quick, if you enjoy Knit Bits, would you be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe to my channel? That's the absolute best way for you to make sure that you never miss an episode of Knit Bits and that you get access to all my latest content. With that out of the way, let's get started. So there are various categories that cast-on methods get put in, things like basic, stretchy, tubular, provisional or temporary, decorative, circular, double-sided. And I think those are the different categories. All of these categories I've seen in my research, I've researched around, but I mostly used the Cast-On Bind-Off book by Leslie Ann Bestwork. I'm not affiliated or sponsored by them, but I just wanted to make sure that I give credit where credit is due. And so let's go ahead and do a little description. So basic cast-ons are just that. They're the basic cast-ons. These are like your all-purpose cleaners, right? They do the job. They get most of the work done really easily. And the best part is we usually have one memorized, so they're super handy and convenient. Then there are stretchy cast-ons. These are the cast-on methods that you want to use if you're making any kind of garment that has to stretch over. So I like to think of like the cuff of your sleeve or the brim of your hat, something that has to kind of stretch over. You want it to have a stretchy cast-on method and not, one of the basic ones where it doesn't have a lot of give, because you want to make sure you can get over your head or over your hand to fit your wrist well, right? Then there are provisional or temporary cast-on methods. These are using waste yarn to get yarn on our needles, and then we knit into them with the yarn that we're going to be using. Usually that cast on edge is then removed and all the stitches are grafted together using a technique like Kitchener's stitch or something like that. Okay, and then there are circular cast-ons. These are used for if you're knitting something from the very center out. Now, I will be honest, like I have done that kind of knitting where you start in the center and knit out, but I just used a basic cast on. You do have the option to use a circular cast on if you don't want like a hole to be in the center of that knitting. So there is an option to do that. And then there's double-sided cast-ons. These, I like to think of these as like the edge of two pieces of fabric. So if you're knitting toe-up socks, then that's your toe, right? Or like the top of the hat down. If you do it that way, you can start off with it closed. The fingertips for mittens, things like that, where it's like a closed end of bag maybe. And it can also be used for double-sided knitting. So those are ways in which that is used. And then we've also got our decorative cast-on methods. Now, decorative are like a little extra fancy, but I think it's really important to note that just because a cast-on method doesn't fall under decorative doesn't mean that it's not beautiful or that you can't use it to be decorative, right? There's just some cast-ons that maybe don't fit in the other categories and they're used mostly just to be beautiful, and so those fall under the decorative category. Another thing that I want to mention is that there's a lot of fluidity between these categories and the different cast-on methods and where they fit. I actually think I forgot one category, sorry, tubular. Tubular is another type of cast-on method, and it basically looks like a tube, which is why it's called tubular. It looks like a tube on your cast-on edge. And these are commonly used if you're going into like a rib pattern or something of that nature, and it looks like you're just knitting and there was no cast-on edge, because it really does look like your knitting just started by magic. It's important to note, too, that tubular sometimes is categorized with stretchy. So if you have a stretchy cast-on method called for, you could use a tubular. In fact, I do often because I like tubular cast-ons. But those are some options for you. There's a lot of fluidity, there's a lot of options, and you can just kind of pick what you like, try something new, use your favorites, and substitute cast-ons if you need to, like if they call for a specific one. But most of the time I think you'll see patterns just say to cast on, and you get to decide, which is so great. Anyway, I hope that you'll join me next time. We're going to take a closer look at the basic cast-on methods, and we're going to look at which ones are basic, right? Which one are our all-purpose planers, and if there's a cast-on method that you wanted me to demonstrate, let me know in the comments, because I would be so happy to do that. And if you liked this video, be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much. Happy knitting!